It's another Monday in the United States of America, and it's a beautiful sunny day in Wisconsin and obviously in Florida as well. Look at that. So, how to keep, maybe you're wondering, maybe you're like us at one point in our life, and you're wondering, how can I be excited about life and keep the end in mind when these things keep showing up and derailing you, right? Or the things, life keeps happening, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, now I got to do this instead of this. So we're Rita and Tammy, we're brain trainers, and we've got some great secrets on how to keep the end goal in mind, even though life is still happening.
Yes, yes. It's such a, we have this part of our brain that's called the reticular activation system. I mean, we have it. It's ingrained in us. It's woven into the crevices of our brain. So why aren't we using it? Because we're not taught. We're not taught to use it. And then maybe we did get a glimpse of that idea or concept, but we weren't able to follow it all the way through. And here with brain training, we know that we can activate it. We could assimilate it, and we can take action on it, right? So keeping the end in mind, Tammy, why is it so important for the brain, that part of your brain, to keep the end in mind?
I remember this story, and pilots probably know it well, that when you put the GPS in for a plane, and if you were just 1 degree off, like you would end up thousands of miles away or hundreds of miles away. So the importance of keeping that end goal in mind is that you have a location, you have an exact spot of what you desire and want. And so much of the time our brain is spent on looking at things we don't want. Right. So, oh, great, this happened today and that happened. And so we have so many things that happen that we don't want. And that just derails us from what is that ultimate goal. So the importance is that in order to reach it, you need to know it. Yeah. So ask yourself a question. That's actually, what do I want? And maybe just spend days just writing and focusing on that. What do I want? What do I want? Because you'll notice you probably are like, oh, I'm thinking about this right now. Okay, what do I want? Oh, I'm thinking about that. Okay, what do I want? Just keep bringing yourself back to what do I want and get that really clear. Because if you can focus on it and believe it, then you can achieve it.
Right. And that's a saying that I grew up, since I was probably 20. And I couldn't grasp what exactly that meant. And so, and also I think what happens is our goals are too small, our dreams are too small, or they're based out of fear, or they're based out of someone else's vision for you as that particular human that you are.
Right.
So we get to update our identities. We get to update our memories, because that's what's holding those patterns. So we know, or some of you know, that as brain trainers, we actually go into the brain. No, we didn't, we don't go into
lobotomy.
Don't do lobotomy, but we know how to, even you've done it before. You guys have done it before, when you've talked to yourself and you had this goal and you were just excited about it and you were just going to do it. And it just started to unfold for you. And that is, there was no resistance. You wanted it higher than the resistance.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, so many good points right there. And one of the things that happens when we're derailed is stress. And so we really bring you videos that help you deal with stress, because we know that that's your number one enemy for anything that you want in life. And so we have the stop stress technique below, so you can use it constantly. And it might seem really silly because we do this weird tapping thing and people, what are you tapping for? We understand that your brain needs to be back to the present because you're off in trance of the past or the future. And so it brings your brain back to the present, and then you can redirect it to what you do want. And that's the really important parts of the stop stress technique. And so figuring out what your goal is for you because you love it, not because it's someone else's goal. or someone else wants this for you, or, oh, it's the easiest thing to do, or whatever it is, but like really getting in tune with what is it that you want. And then anytime something is derailing it or causing stress for you, or, you know, things happen, somebody passes away, there's a car accident, somebody's got cancer, somebody's like these things, or you yourself are dealing with illness, use that stop stress technique to bring your brain back and keep focusing on your end goal. Your life is you're here for a purpose, and we want you to fulfill that purpose, because we know that anybody that's on fire, like think of this, the Wright brothers, you know what they did first? They thought they could fly. They just had a thought, and people are like, that's crazy, right? But they didn't stop believing it. They believed they could do it. When they looked at how a bird went, when they started creating little ideas, when they started trying things, they're like, well, that didn't work, but it's still going to work. They believed it. And then they started taking the actions because they were so excited about it. So getting excited is the part that we get to control. That's our feeling. And if you don't know how to control your feelings, then use the stop stress technique.
Control everything, control is everything. If you can't grow, you can't control. You know what I mean? If we're not moving the needle, we're not controlling we're not creating our life, right? Here's an opportunity to create freedom from the upsets of the past, right? And the ability to face the future and create the future, right?
Right.
To have relief.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't know you were.
To have relief, relief from these perceived hostile thoughts that we have. These guys, they're just a thought, right? And the suffering that we have in our mental state, through brain training, you can flip that. You can flip that. And then the ability to recognize the source of your problem and make them vanish with consciousness, awareness, with brain training, that is so valuable.
Guys, you really are living in the past, and it's not benefiting your goal because it's not what you want. You don't want that same thing happening over and over. Your brain just automatically focuses on it. And so this is the technique that will be easiest for you to assimilate into not only figuring out what is it that you want, but then shortening that gap, as Rita always says, like shrinking that gap up to achieving it, because it's more about who you are and who you become in the process. And so if you can make that the first step, then everything will come easier, as opposed to fighting against your own nature and your own belief system to try to achieve something, right? It's all about becoming. And so think of it as it starts with this thought, and then it starts with the belief, and the belief is either going to drive you towards it, pull you towards it, like you're so excited now because you actually do believe it, or it's going to completely repel you because your belief isn't lined up with it. So that's the way to get excited and be able to focus on your end goal. Like, this is the secret. So we hope this helped you. We love you and want to see you succeed more than anything in life, because a person on fire is exciting to everybody. And a person that has a very solid, this is what I want in life, there's nothing stopping them, because they have that focused goal and the brain is working with them. So use the stop stress technique below, like, share, and comment. We'd love to hear your comments, and be sure to click notifications so you know when we go live next.